No!
Potevamo stupirvi con effetti speciali, ma noi siamo scienza, non fantascienza. Grazie all'intelligenza artificiale siamo in grado di migliorare la visione rigenerando l'immagine in tempo reale e con una significativa riduzione della banda. E così basta partite con l'effetto Noi vogliamo farvi fare Small Pixels, qualità sostenibile real time.
Good morning. Welcome to the new Tech Talk today regarding the regeneration fad concerning and connecting to the last edition, the European Digital Forum in Lucca was a very amazing event. So good morning to all our viewers. We are confident that we will offering to you a very amazing information about the media industry. So this is the parterre du roi of today, and we are confident that we receive punctual information and right information on several topics from Jonathan Smith, Mike Cohen, and Pascal MITRAL. And in a few seconds, I will introduce our speakers, and we have a very special surprise. Maria, buenos dias. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? Very good, so, thank you.
We are sharing information about the invitation to you, a very special invitation. And with the respect about the other speakers, I present before the other speakers just to be back to you. Jonathan Smith, amazing presentation in Lucca. Our congratulations, Jonathan. It will be, even for your smile and your attitude, Jonathan, very positive.
Absolute pleasure to be here, Andrea.
Yeah,
I'm always smiling. Welcome. We have
to. Thank you so much. And Pascal MITRAL, that's because this is a very important things to do and to have a special light every day on the year on piracy. You know, Pascal, Glenda said to you that we will try to organize a very important event in Milan in October with the main stakeholders.
Yeah, I think it's a very important topic that we need to address and discuss, educate, train, and eventually get effective measures put in place. And I'm looking forward.
Yeah, because we
we
need to protect the culture and industry production, and the piracy is a cancer. Is a cancer. This is the point. So, thank you again for your participation, and we have a very special speaker. Probably you will be in Lucca next year, Mike.
I'm hoping to be. It'd be very nice to get out of the office and get to some Italian sunshine.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for Edgio participation. So, Maria, we spent 5 minutes with you, and so this is the beautiful, amazing Maria. That is why you laugh.
I like all your photos and your introduction, so thank you very much.
So I take your advantage to understand. This is when we realized the event in Lucca, you was in Dubrovnik for the NEM, right?
Correct. Yes.
And about talking about FAST, and could we receive an update for that kind of event at your presentation? Because we spoken about the FAST in the past with amazing results in terms of viewers. So what's going on there?
So there are many things going on, Andrea. So yes, you are correct. The last 6 months, I have been traveling around the world presenting our latest data on advertising, in particularly FAST, because although in the US is very advanced, like 80% of the 13 billion revenues come from the US, many regions like Eastern Europe, like Middle East, is still very low. There are not many FAST channels in those regions yet. So they want to learn from best cases, from use cases in the US, how can they also monetize FAST channels in other regions like Eastern Europe, like Middle East. So,
may I ask you, since the last presentation that we made about the FAST channels with these amazing results in terms of the overview on 2027, I guess, no? What you have a latest update about the FAST, or is still the same scenario?
So we have been updating numbers. We have 2028 data now with 13 billion for 2028. We have updated as well regions like Eastern Europe and Middle East. And I was also in another event recently, Vivatech in France. And I presented also trends around not just FAST, but also key topics, like, for example, the crossover we see now across games and video, why there are now so much content based on games IP. Also, we talk a lot about sports and how sports is also a very hot topic for FAST channels. We discuss a lot about smart TV companies, why they're all now so keen in launching FAST channels. So there has been lots of topics, and I don't know if I'm able to present here some of the slides, like a summary.
If you prefer, while you prepare your slides, please upload the slide. Could I ask to the other speakers if they have a question to Maria about the FAST?
Yeah, I guess, Maria, I'd be quite interested. I noticed, looking at your data from your last presentation, that the US market, in comparison to the other markets, is a huge proportion of that potential revenue. Is that expected to kind of balance in some way, or do we always expect the North American market to absolutely lead that FAST channel revenue?
It will always lead that always. Why? Because the US market is very different from Europe. In Europe, we have fantastic public service broadcasters. We have already very good free TV. But in the US, it was not the case. In order to subscribe to some of the free channels, you still need to have cable, you still need to have a subscription. They don't have the culture of public service broadcasters we have here in Europe. So when the possibility of having free content in a free linear way, of course, everyone start watching those kind of channels. And that's why in the US, it became so popular. Also, the US, the number of viewers in the US is bigger than in many other countries. So there are lots of reasons why we still believe the US, even in 2028, it will be 80% of all the revenues. So in the next 5-10 years, it will still be the #1 country. But as I said, doesn't mean don't look to other countries, because there's a lot of potential in Middle East, in Eastern Europe, in regions where there are not fast channels at all. I mean, many companies that didn't even reach, as Andrea said, I was in Croatia, many channels are not even there. So it's a good opportunity for whoever is launching fast channels to pay attention to these regions as well.
And the UK, as one of the fastest growing with fast channel markets in Europe, is that because of the crossover from the US, or is there something unique about the UK which makes us grow faster?
The English-speaking countries are going to grow faster because obviously there is a lot of similarities in those markets. So after the US is the UK, is Canada, is Australia. So those markets will grow faster. Also, the advertising system here in the UK is more advanced than in any other countries. So it's easier as well to get money from advertisers here. But it's not only the UK. After the UK, Canada, and Australia, there are other countries in the top 10 that includes Italy, includes Spain, Brazil, Mexico. But yes, 500 million will be the UK. So it's a very important market after the US.
Okay, thank you. Pascal, very bad news for you is more than 1,000 people watching now the live. So we will see in Montreal. So the other points that Maria really and seriously is a very, very amazing speakers doing a very great job with Omdia, with the latest update about the media industry scenario. And you visit Toledo, amazing city in Spain for Connecta. So the first question that I have in mind now is that seems that you visit, for example, 2 events that mainly are based on contents and production, is not technology. So is more contents that determine in some way the next future, or is technology that contributes, as in the past, to realize and to achieve the new role of the media in the future?
Well, all these things are so related, Andrea, and we keep saying tech meets content, content meets tech, because both things are so interrelated now.
Yeah.
And for example, in Toledo, we were talking about content, but we were talking as well about how to reach Gen Z, how to reach under 25s. Where are they? What do they watch? How can we reach them? That presentation, in fact, was very interesting because I had panelists there. I had a Spanish influencer. I had another guy who works producing content from influencers. So it was very interesting, for example, to compare under 25s in Spain, compare them with the UK, for example. In Spain, where are these people, the under 25s? So they are in YouTube, they are in Twitch. Twitch is in the top 5 in Spain. TikTok, of course, and Amazon. So Netflix is not in the top 5. But in the UK, for example, Twitch is number 11. It's not in the top 5. But what surprised me is BBC iPlayer, it comes in the top 5 for under 25s.
So what do you mean, in your opinion? Or listen to the comments by Jonathan and Mike that are there, and it could be that they have very special comments on it. What is the reason of that?
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting. I can certainly a perception of. I think my children always lead my perception of what people are doing with media, and I think as households in the UK, we were always used to coming home and watching traditional television, and our kids today come home and they still watch those services just through the direct-to-consumer routes, and they have now become, television-like services like Netflix, like Amazon, but also BBC iPlayer, ITVX, all these kind of companion applications that are on tablets, on connected devices, and there's just, I think, a tendency to kind of lean towards those kind of familiar broadcast names in the UK to consume that. I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I was on a panel in the Middle East recently and talking to broadcasters there. And one of the things that they were very interested in was there was a recent episode of Black Mirror, which had got an interactive element within it, where viewers were invited to choose their own route through the program, and this really did engage the younger people within the market. And the broadcasters were very interested in this because they were reusing content over and over again, and people were watching the same show, but in a different order multiple times. And one of the things that the panel were very interested in is the sort of lean forward aspect to the way that younger people are consuming TV.
Okay, may I ask you, Maria, because Pascal are based in Switzerland, but I think that we could speak about the situation, for example, in Switzerland, Germany, and France, are different from UK and Spain and Italy, or?
Yes, they are. We didn't present the results for Switzerland and Germany. This one was focused mainly on Spain and the UK. But yes, in the next edition, I can talk about Germany and Switzerland. But as you heard before as well, for me, it's very interesting to hear how in the UK, under 25s love BBC iPlayer coming in the top 5, but why in Spain, RTV, it comes only in the top 5 for more older than 55 years old. So this is a question for public service broadcasters in different countries. Why in some countries young audiences are watching that content, and why in others it seems to be for people over 55. So that was a very interesting point to compare Spain versus the UK. And then regarding that interactivity, interaction with the content, 100%. And that goes back to the topic I mentioned about gaming and video, and how many of these people are, more than 80% of under 25s, they play games. So if you want to reach them, you can go to a games ecosystem, places like Fortnite, although many people can say Fortnite is not a game, it's a platform where you can play games, but you can also watch a movie, go to a concert, read a book. So it's a big platform with lots of content. And from there, you can redirect audiences to different places. And also something very interesting they mentioned in Toledo is, since these people are always in YouTube, YouTube is the favorite platform for everyone in the world, in Germany, in Switzerland, in Spain, in the UK. Now what they're doing is some of those influencers in YouTube, they're moving to the big screen using all formats. So maybe all formats like reality shows from the past.
Yeah.
This one in Spain called 1, 2, 3, I don't know if you know, Andrea, it was a very, very old format, like 30 years ago. They're coming back, all formats, with influencers of today, trying to attract new audiences that they are familiar with those YouTube celebrities. To that screen.
So you know, it's a very great news, Maria, because I don't know if you realize that next year, before the FAD, one day before, we will have a very special day calling Regeneration, dedicated to this kind of markets.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Because we are confident that that kind of world, of digital world, will cross the traditional industry in the moment.
Exactly. And it was very good to hear from experts saying, you don't, because sometimes parents complain, I cannot speak to my kids, they are obsessed with games. What if you put both worlds together and then everyone can reunite again in the living room, combining those worlds, the old traditional formats with the new digital formats or way of consuming TV, and that is possible. And yes, the reality is eyeballs are there.
Very interesting. You realize, guys and viewers, why Maria is so amazing as a crack? You realize now the reason why I talk about Maria in this way? Because she is.
Because I'm learning from all of you, Andrea, because I'm traveling a lot and my ears are always listening to what people are saying.
So quickly, we have this special question from Mauro. Hi, Mauro. Thank you so much, and have a nice day. Who are able to reply to Mauro, please?
So I think Mauro is...
Yeah, regarding the fast model in Europe, in a time when big global premium streaming players are reviewing their, in concretely, for example, You know, the announcement of the financial results of Disney last week was so horrible, so horrible. So look into that kind of reality and the future, what's going on.
I think there are opportunities for fast channel, despite subscription TV being a little bit on the wane, because there are more avenues for you to explore with fast channel. For instance, retailers may want to explore fast channel to promote their own lines of clothing or whatever they're wanting to do.
Okay. So
yeah, on that side, I mean, I think the proliferation of fast TV and other platforms, there's a risk of currently the landscape of content distribution is already super fragmented. So I think, and speaking of regeneration, there may be, and we see it coming, a need for super aggregation, super aggregators. That can be public TV, it can be pay TV, and I think it will be interesting to see maybe to talk again in two or 3 years. Are we going to actually consolidate, or are we going to further fragment content distribution?
Okay, so Maria, thank you so much. We will wait for you for sure for the first day before the Fed in 2024, but I'm looking to make a very, like a Spanish attitude, to give you a very great hug very soon somewhere, because you are, where are you in the next weeks, for example?
Well, right now, for a change, I'm at home, I'm in London. So if you want to come to London next week, I'm going to do a very interesting event in our building, in our office in London, about AI and how AI is impacting media. I'm going to have Jonathan Broughton, who's the head of strategy at the EBU, and I'm going to ask Jonathan how different broadcasters across Europe are adapting to things like AI. Because yes, many people are scared, but I mean, we have to learn, we have to know what can we do with AI rather than closing our eyes to reality. So that will happen next week. I want to invite you all, you, Andrea, the speakers, and everyone who's listening. Well, we only have a capacity of 200 people, but whoever wants to come to London, my next topic will be AI and media.
Thank you so much, Maria. We appreciate a lot your participation. We spent 21 minutes, amazing discussion. I love you so much, even the other speakers, because this is kind of just to forget the moderator and just to give you the sense and the feelings about this kind. Thank you so much, Maria, and I hope to see you soon. Te quiero mucho, Maria. Recuérdatelo.
Fantastic. I love this kind of events with people so enthusiastic like you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Maria Rua Guete from India. Amazing, amazing speakers, really. So now it's time for your presentation. And just to explain to our viewers, is a lot of viewers now at the moment live, how the reason of the fantastic edition in Lucca is not for the organization, if not for the contents that you realize. So first of all, Pascal, I introduce you and your presentation about what we can do about the anti-piracy solution of Nagra. Please.
Thank you very much. So very shortly, Nagra, maybe some of you know us. We are content security provider and securing content and providing anti-piracy services and technologies to a broad range of customers throughout the world, including Italy, but many other places. But let's go straight to the topic. I was talking about super aggregation, and I think pirates are super aggregators. So the idea for us is obviously, and the industry, is to fight against them, to compete against those super aggregators that cost a fraction less than normal pay TV subscriptions. And for us at Nagra, really what is driving our anti-piracy technologies and services is really the intelligence and the data analytics. Basically, know your target, know the threat, size the piracy problem, measure the piracy problem, and measure the return on investment of the anti-piracy measures. So really, we are building, and we've built over time our capabilities on a very solid, let's say, foundation, which is intelligence and data. Basically, intelligence and data, and I will switch to the next slide. Both on the inside world of an OTT platform, for example, looking at the metrics, at the data generated by the OTT platform, the Nagra OTT platform. We have this security analytics, so that you really can identify within the OTT traffic abnormal behavior and measure abnormal traffic that shouldn't be going out to people that are not subscribers, remediate it by shutting down stations and streams, basically to clean your own issue from within the OTT platform. But also looking at the outside world of piracy, also again, through true and real life data. This example here is the internet traffic piracy measurements capabilities we have. We're able to look at within the ISP, Internet Service Provider Network, identify pirate traffic, identify servers broadcasting lots of pirated content, and obviously measure and maybe if the legal system allows, also remediate and take measures by blocking this pirate traffic, or by preventing users from accessing to this pirate traffic. So real data, real piracy consumption data, real piracy offering data. This is very important. Again, speaking of super aggregation, this is a true picture of a piracy operation, right? So a pirate network that is fueling hundreds of thousands of users with content, right? So maybe starting from one pirate website that was spotted out there. This is the one circled in red. And through some tricks and investigation tricks, we're able to reconstruct the entire piracy infrastructure, feeding pirate consumers all over the place, right? So this is the type of targets we are fighting against. And again, this is a true and real data that we were able to build from observing the pirate traffic, from our labs, from the network measurement tool, and from other techniques. So again, building on that type of capabilities, we are trying to provide the best remediation services. And this will be my final slide. It's nice to be fact-based. It's nice to be intelligence or piracy intelligence driven and market intelligence driven. But we also try to respond to the then what, to the so what question. Huh? Once I know what the piracy problem is, when I know how big it is, when I have identified, the biggest pirate targets that are impacting my customers' pay TV operation, then what can I do? And this is really also what is on the table on our side. Suspending accounts that are more problematic, OTT accounts, or even DTH accounts that we identify are leaking content or leaking decryption keys, killing ongoing streaming sessions. Our pirates more and more are able to steal directly from the pay TV operator OTT CDN. And with the ability to identify abnormal traffic, we also have the ability to kill pirated streaming sessions, ending with a black screen for pirate consumers. That's very effective.
I think it's a very complicated challenge. For example, I'm very curious to understand from Mike and Jonathan the situation of piracy in UK, because in Italy is so horrible. Recently, the FAPAF is the organization that provides to fighting against the piracy in Italy, talking about the impact of the piracy in terms of investment and occupation, and is a tragedy in our country. So is the same in UK, for example, Mike and Jonathan?
Yeah, there is certainly super aggregation within the UK. There are people who put together streaming services by pirating. but I'm not sure it's quite as broad as it is in certain other parts of the continent. Jonathan, what's your feeling?
Yeah, I'd agree, Mike. It definitely exists, especially the kind of piggybacking on other platforms, and as fast as these platforms seem to be able to close down, pirate streams, another 20 pop up, right? And so definitely, I know that the consumption, especially for things like live sports event, pay-per-view events, stuff like that, rebroadcast of those kind of things is definitely prevalent. And I think there's an interesting, some of it's education as well. I think, I had to spend quite a lot of time educating certainly my children that it's not okay to consume content like that. And, because they kind of figured that because it's on YouTube, because it's, popped up as a live stream on Facebook Live, then it must be completely acceptable to consume the media in that way. And you kind of try and point out that there's an industry that is being put under pressure because of this behavior.
One phrase I always use with my kids is there is no such thing as free. Somebody is paying for it.
Okay, Pascal, thank you so much for your presentation. I mean, I guess that the technological development permits us to make a very special front against the piracy. At the same time, the political matters and decision, it will be very important to concrete this kind of fight. And from my point of view, is even more important to not to pay attention every day to this kind of phenomenon. It's not to open a light and then suddenly disappear any kind of attention to this kind of phenomenon. This is very horrible from my point of view.
Yeah, this is why I think the public authorities have a role to play. And the good thing for Italy, your market and your country, is that actually the regulator was made aware also through industry efforts and lobbying and training and education that there's a big piracy problem, and you have these live blocking regulation that is about to be put in place. This is also a product that we do and we provide this live IP blocking, or even live site blocking, or whatever type of blocking. So Italy is going to be well equipped, and that's a very good news together with other European countries, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate even the attention by our viewers, because we have a lot of people there that are following your discussion. So congratulations to you, Pascal, Mike, and Jonathan. Very great results, a very great surprise. So I see a special introduction and presentation, Mike.
Yeah,
are you agree with us or not?
I would spend a few minutes just going through who Edgio is, because it's a relatively new brand that has been only on the market for about a year. But however, we have 20 years of experience within both media and applications. We are a content delivery network. So what we are doing is we are bringing consumers closer to where the content is. And we historically, we have been delivering what we call large object content. So things like films and TV and file downloads using the brand name Limelight. And then around this time last year, we acquired a company of a similar size, Edgecast. And Edgecast, we are for a large object. Edgecast is much more about small objects and delivering websites. And married with that is an acquisition we have with a company called Layer Zero. And Layer Zero was predominantly about website acceleration. So bringing those three companies together, we decided to rebrand as Edgio. With more than 1,000 employees and 5,000 clients and more than 50 partners across 60 countries, we provide both applications improvements. So what do I mean by that? I mean security, improving the speed of applications, and also making it simpler to develop applications for web and for mobile devices. In addition, we are still delivering media content across the world. We are one of the largest deliverers of media content, delivering things like live football, and also delivering content for the likes of the big box set distributors.
I will never forget, Mike, that the last year, in the last edition of the European Digital Forum in Lucca, Emma Whitemore announcement of this kind of operation. So
the acquisition of Edgecast.
Yes.
Yes.
Was the first time, I guess. So it was a very amazing people. Another reflection coming from an amount of meeting this week in Italy. This is a quite surprise for me. You know that some major league or sport league, obviously, in Italy are thinking about to create their own CDN.
Absolutely. I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about it at the moment, but yes, it's very interesting what you're mentioning.
Yes. Yeah, very interesting, because just to create an infrastructure that permitted to the league to have several services and have a known platforms to distribute that kind of. So it could be quite interesting to understand. Go, Mike.
So one of the reasons why we have been successful both in delivering large object and small objects is because of our global reach. We have more than 300 points of presence across the world, going from South America through to Asia, and lots in Europe and North America. With more than 250 terabits per second of delivery, we are probably number 2 in terms of the size of a CDN across the world. And with 7,000 interconnects with global ISPs, you're never too far away from actually getting your content directly to eyeballs. One of the other advantages of such a global capacity is also our ability to take in DDoS attacks and being able to service them without affecting the origin of either the media delivery or for the website delivery.
In this sense, Mike, I love a claim that I create recently: local markets for global operator. Because you need to view a different markets, because you never say that Saudi Arabia seems like Colombia or Peru. It's totally different.
Absolutely.
But as a global operator, you provide to give the same services applying to the kind of markets, I guess.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, you are very right in saying that Saudi Arabia is a very different market to elsewhere in the world. Just the same as a market in Los Angeles is quite different from a market in London. Recently, I've been talking to a customer in Iraq who is distributing video content within Iraq. We have a number of content distributions through ISPs there, and we're able to provide them probably the best service for any CDN in the world.
One day I will explain why the cinema is on Los Angeles, is not based in New York. Was in New York in the beginning of 19th century, but moved to Los Angeles for a tax reason. So it's the same history of today in our life in some way. So pay attention to the Saudi Arabia, I guess, Mike, because as you know, the sport and the future of the sport there are very interesting for the future, in investment is a very interesting region, in my opinion. It could be.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been asked to bid for the racing of camels in Saudi Arabia. They'll race anything out there. So yeah, absolutely.
What's the light slide, Mike? This one?
Yeah, the last slide that I have here, Andrea. So it's just the company is split into 2 halves. We have media, which is both with uplink and delivery, and OpenEdge. So OpenEdge is our direct into ISPs, where we are able to put points of presence actually within the ISPs to get closer still to eyeballs, delivery, where we are taking large content and making that available worldwide, uplink, where we are able to take files and do watch files and deliver them directly into the internet and make fast channels very quickly, integrating with things like ad insertion tools. And on the other side, doing security, performance, and sites to improve the speed of accessing websites.
Okay, there is a point that I want to underline because it's very, very important. It seems that is not so relevant as the other ones. Obviously, all these kind of services are important, but the network operation center is very, very important to overview exactly what's going on in a market that, being global, is 24 hours in a day. So you need to pay attention to that.
That's right.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mike. And we are now have the pleasure to present Net Insight. And Jonathan, why your presentation in Lucca was really appreciate, Jonathan, from your point of view?
Yeah, I think it was great to be in Lucca and talk about some of the both challenges but success stories that Net Insight have had within the cloud arena. But I was going to spend a little bit of time
because
today
you're speaking about the cloud. That seems is a very in this our industry is not modern words concept, but cloud is still a very important elements to pay attention.
Absolutely, and I think I try to underline in Lucca that cloud is not this kind of particular service. Cloud is an architectural approach, and I think you
say that is an organization efficient process for the media industry.
Exactly that, and actually, I share a few slides here because I think as a business we're seeing that these architectures are a response to some of the pressures we're under, of course. But yeah. So let me just start by introducing Net Insight. Net Insight have been in this business for the last 25 years, and as a business, we're incredibly well known for live media transport solutions. Anything that was sports content, live news contribution, channel distribution for traditional broadcast chains. There's a high likelihood you might have come and knocked on the door of Net Insight to provide that solution. And so really we find ourselves kind of across the live media value chain. And so whether that's live event, production, contribution, or distribution, Net Insight traditionally have found themselves building specialized networks, very high quality, very low latency for moving these live streams around. But then, of course, we find ourselves
just to not jump every time, just to arrive quickly to the end, right?
Well, exactly that. So orchestration is the important piece as well here. Being able to control these networks as media companies and to use them and operate them as a media business rather than just worrying about IP packets, so network overlays and everything else. So everything from live event to handoff to the consumer distribution. So in fact, we're handing off from these networks to CDNs like Edgio and others. So yeah, managing this world of distribution. And so traditionally, Andrea, we kind of had a scenario where we divided our business almost into two areas. And when we were looking after tier one content, we were employing these IP media gateway solutions. These Nimbra networks are quite well known within the industry. They're hardware-based, specialized networks, very high quality, very low latency, very high density, along with orchestration and control. And they were primarily used for, tier one sports broadcasting, newscasting, and other distribution activities. And then alongside that grew up the cloud solutions that I primarily work with orchestration of internet delivery. Obviously, internet provides this ubiquitous connectivity to broadcasters, so it found uses early on with gaming, esports, what we would have referred to as tier 2, and we have solutions both for the orchestration of those networks and the contribution in and out of those environments. But we've been hearing a lot of things today about how these pictures are all kind of changing, I think. And so what we found happening, which is quite interesting, is on the cloud side of the business, we've seen consistent growth over the last 3 years of customer onboarding, a pretty linear adoption of customers coming in and using our services across cloud and internet connectivity. But more recently, we've seen an explosion of streams being delivered over cloud network segments. And this is delivery ahead of consumer distribution. This is important. So this is broadcasters and service providers using cloud and internet delivery to service their customers. And, we started to see, we spoke at Fed about tier 1 content is really being delivered over these network segments now. So CBS Sports, Golazo carrying, as you well pointed out, content from Serie A, from various other international football organizations into a 24/7 linear streaming service.
Just Jonathan, sorry, and I include obviously Pascal and Michael in this kind of comment, because today we have spoken in several moments the esports phenomenon situation is still alive there.
Absolutely, yes, without a doubt. And in fact, we're seeing a lot of the esports now progress out of some of those kind of lower tiers of activity into higher tier. We wouldn't have expected some of those esports broadcasts to be using hitless protection strategy across our networks, but now some of the higher end, more valuable products within that area are now using hitless protection services, active protection. They're using diverse routing paths to make sure that these services are robust. So we really are seeing a convergence of things into these environments. But actually,
Jonathan, we have 1 minute to close. Thank you.
No problem. So the last really interesting thing is on our hardware side of our business, we're also seeing growth. Okay, so it's not just cloud and internet. We're seeing traditional hardware appliances. We're seeing JPEG XS see mass adoption and growth across hardware products. Our customers are really hungry for 100 gig interfaces into these devices. So what can we say? We can say that as a business, we're just doing more. More bandwidth, more streams, and of course for Net Insight that means more control and more orchestration. So really, as a business, we're seeing a convergence of our products. So our customers can choose where it's appropriate to use these different technologies and make that pressure on them at the moment a little bit more efficient. We spoke about people under pressure with revenue, Disney's, direct-to-consumer revenue predictions, and a lot of that is because they're approached it in a siloed way, and we're trying to bring these worlds together to make make that distribution far more efficient for our customers.
Great. Really, it was a very amazing tech talk today. Thanks even for the first part with Maria and your presentation and topics that is really very important in our media industry today. So I would like to express my best appreciation and gratitude to Pascal MITRAL from Nagra. Pascal, we are waiting for your invitation because we have a lot of viewers, so stay with us. So it could be a very interesting music to enjoy in the future. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Amazing job for you and for your company, and thank you to accept our special invitation. Jonathan, you will be a very special guest in Lucca and everywhere with Net Insight. Thank you so much, and thank you to all of you. I wish you a very great day, and we will be back with the Tech Talk with Google and Jedi Espresso. Is one of the main group in Italy for the communication and media next week on Thursday, sometime at noon. Thank you so much for your participation, and have a great day, and all my best. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.